Welcome, everyone. This is Nick Allen with Better Together, and excited to have my friend and our guest today, Jana Joramo. And
Great.
thank you, I got it. All right, first take. We're keeping this one, no edit. And just excited to have her on because she's the owner of Copeka Coffee. How long has been you're just celebrating which year for
Eight
you?
years.
8 year. Congratulations.
Thank
Well,
you.
welcome to Better Together.
Yeah, great.
We wanted to talk because, this show is so based in community. We talk about mostly politics and things like that, but we definitely want to check in on just, some people within our community and Copeka is such a hub for so many people. Like, first off, what do you try and what do you want Copeka to mean to people, this coffee shop here for just the folks of Grand Junction and Mesa County?
Well, that's a great question. Um, we have a mission of radical inclusivity.
Mm,
And so what we want it to mean to people is a safe place to be.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And a sense that they can come in and almost anything will happen. Like it's almost like magic. You never know which of your friends you're going to see or if you're going to meet new friends. I have some people who just got married. I don't have them, but they're customers and they just got married and they met here.
Wow. Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So
Yeah.
that kind of thing just warms my heart.
Hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, how have you seen Copeka change over the years since we just celebrated your 8th year?
Yeah. Well, when we started Copeka, we actually started it in response to the 2016 election.
Wow. Okay.
So it was really kind of born at
Hmm.
that time, this idea that it really felt fraught, didn't it? It
Yeah.
felt like things were really fractured and you didn't really know who you could trust or who you wanted to talk to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was working as a home visiting nurse for first-time families.
Yeah.
And I was at the health department, and we were also really looking at suicides. And I had a couple of clients who killed themselves.
Wow.
And then there were so many people that I knew who were being affected by suicide.
Hmm.
So,
Well, especially in our valley
yeah,
too.
and that
Yeah.
at that time it was really prominent. And so we wanted to create a place where that feeling of being fractured and disenfranchised was lessened.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And we found this space and we were like, oh my gosh, the light, it's just perfect.
Right. It's
Yeah.
uplifting. You're like you want to
Mhm.
see people and just like be in community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course the building isn't totally perfect.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're working with it. Yeah, it just was it that's how it started. And I actually think that, the furniture has changed and
Hmm.
we've changed the colors. But the thing we're doing with it is still the same.
Yeah, of
That
just
mission is constant.
right,
Yeah.
radical inclusivity.
Yeah. Radical meaning at the root.
Hmm.
So, to explain that, at the root of everything we're doing, like we're thinking about the farmers who are growing the coffee, and we
Right.
want them to be included. So we want them to be paid well,
Hmm.
and we want as part of a political conversation,
Sure.
if people want to come here, um, as immigrants, that's great.
Hmm.
And we personally, as owners, are very welcoming of that.
Yeah.
But if they're immigrating because they don't have the ability to stay on their own land and in their own community because we're not paying well
Hmm.
for the goods and services that they provide, then that is actually really kind of crappy.
Right. That's just that
Right?
downstream effect.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So at the root of everything. So we pay more for our coffee than I think anybody else would
Sure.
have.
Yeah. Sure.
Uh,
But for a purpose.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, because it would not feel right
Yeah.
to to make a profit when somebody is having pain.
Yeah, excluding the workers that are in this whole pipeline.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And then that also extends the radical inclusivity at the root, when we were thinking about how how people feel when they walk in here, and can they find a space where their back is to the wall if they like that, or
Sure.
they find a space where they can just be alone reading a book, or they can bring tabletop games and play with their group. And you see all of these things,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and we see such of like this culture too, and it's interesting around coffee because coffee shops are such a place to drink and connect and
Mhm.
be with your friends and family. But the corporatized model that we see in big players like Starbucks, it's like get out of here. Get your
Mhm.
coffee, like don't get there's no like nice chairs or anything like that. They don't want you to settle in too long and move it on because I mean that's the business model. So do you think that sacrifice is worth it? That you can have someone that hangs out like someone like me that just hangs out like all day. Yeah, right. Post up, 4 or 5 hours, whatever, and I drink a few coffee and have a nice baked good. But if you were able to get out in an hour, you could have gotten one or two more people. Like, where do you balance that? That's got to be tough in a sense.
Yeah. Although, I I remembered the 90s coffee houses,
Mm,
and so did Lee, one of the other owners. And Kyra grew up in them because I managed a coffee house.
okay,
Yeah,
so that was the history there.
in Uray.
Gotcha.
hmm And those were meant to be the third space. They were meant to be places where you could post up,
Hmm.
right? Um, and I myself went to a lot of coffee houses, and just like maybe got a batch brew and just
Sure.
sat around for a while because I couldn't afford anything else.
Mhm.
And for us, we really wanted it to be that feeling with the third wave
Right.
mentality. So that third wave of coffee is like the foodie part of coffee that that we're so we have recipes.
Yeah.
We measure by weighing things, and we're constantly keeping an eye on our espresso, and we're dialing in several times a day. And the beans themselves are specialty beans, and
Zero craft.
yeah,
Zero craft to it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Plus, by keeping that character of like a place to just be. And it's like we're losing so many of those places
Yeah.
constantly. Or they're being, just changed into just like cycle out people.
Mhm.
Just and I mean, what do you think that let's go broader a little bit. Like what's the problem with that? What's happening here with, and maybe this leads into why you're so focused on, an inclusive space, but like as we start to lose more and more spaces like rec centers or like libraries sometimes, or just like how they've been changing, what concerns you with that? And why do you think we need more places like Copeka?
You're talking about rec centers. I'm really excited about the rec
Yeah,
center
you got the
coming
new one
in.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And libraries, those are public spaces where we pay taxes,
Right.
and they should be for everybody.
Mhm.
And that schools, the same,
Yes.
right?
Massive.
And I
Yeah.
remember when I first became conscious of the politics of school boards.
Sure.
I had just moved here to town, uh, 93. My grandparents lived here,
Okay. Cool.
and I'd moved here from Arizona. And I suddenly became aware, because my daughter was, you know,
School age.
yeah, well, she was going to be, and people were talking about how you have to really start preparing for years before your child starts school.
Mhm.
And I just became interested in what was going on with the school boards, and that led me to realize that that was the fight. That was way
Sure.
back then,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it just seems really unfair, and actually ticks me off, to be honest.
Mhm.
That there are people who don't want it to be a democratic situation. They want it to be that they have the say,
Right.
and
Right.
and that whether honestly, whether you're talking about somebody from the very far left or the very far right, that is really disturbing to me because democracy is,
All voices.
all voices. Yeah,
Right.
everybody has a little bit of a piece of the pie that
Mhm.
way. So Copeka is a private place,
Right.
right? But we treat it very much like it's a public
Hmm.
commodity.
No doubt.
I mean, people will come in here and it just cracks us up. They'll just like pick furniture up and rearrange the room, and we're like, okay, just make yourself
Like
at
you said,
home.
yeah, right? Yeah. Totally. Hey, I was like, hey, can I start filming a podcast in here? And you're like, yeah, just reserve the room. Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And there's it's really rare unless somebody does not fit in with our values at all. It's really rare that we'll say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of brings me to a point too, and something that I'm like struggling with in some ways of, this belief or, how I'm trying to, better together, connect more people. Um, but sometimes like what happens when you mention like they don't fit the standard belief of like just mutual care for one
Mhm.
another, that they want to control other people. How do you go about working as looking for inclusion? And we do too, but I don't know how to operate with folks that just have such diametrically opposed views against just their fellow people.
Well, it comes down to behavior
Okay.
for us. Um,
Mm. Hmm.
so if somebody, yeah, I don't know what the beliefs of all the people who come in here are,
No doubt.
and I actually think that's probably good,
Hmm.
because
Right.
that means that they're not trying to inflict it on someone else.
Sure.
We've had people who come in here and they've had Bible studies and big prayer circles.
Hmm.
Then other people are, we've had the humanists doing good,
Right. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
types. And um, it, if anybody is going to be rude or demeaning to anybody in the building,
Hmm.
and I don't mean rude like they haven't had their coffee yet, or
Real grumpy. Yeah.
or maybe they're gonna think about it later and make an apology.
Sure.
But I mean like really debasing somebody.
Mhm.
If they do that, then they're out.
Right.
And we haven't had to do that too much,
Hmm.
honestly. I think people come in and they feel like they want to behave.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and
You feel good here.
yeah, our staff really loves our customers.
Mhm.
They're like, worked other places and it's not like this.
Right.
Yeah. And we won't take that with our staff either.
Hmm.
If there's somebody who is crossing the line and says something like you are then I
Hmm.
86 them. They just can't do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the staff feels empowered too. Like they know that they need to be taking the emotional labor of the interactions.
Hmm.
That's a thing we talk about a lot.
Hmm.
That they need to be the ones that are maybe standing there with a little more equanimity if there's somebody who, is having a hard day or whatever. But as soon as it becomes abusive, that is like, mm-mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. No, what you made me think of when you mentioned that of like the URA phrase, I like that of just trying to avoid that of
Mm.
defining people.
Right.
And some of my background lies in a little bit of criminal justice, and I like what defense attorneys say is like it's not a bad person, it's a person that did a bad thing.
Yeah.
And and they say that they got to defend murderers and like some of the worst, but they can still find things in that person to really just connect with and
Yeah.
not lose the fact that you're not just a conservative or a liberal. You're a human, and let's kind of match where that's at.
Yeah.
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 Right.
One of my heroes is a Buddhist nun
Hmm.
by the name of
Okay.
Pema Chodron. And she talks about how you're you're not following a path, you're creating the path. So when you're, maybe you've gone off the mark a little bit,
Hmm.
and you can choose if this is the way that's gone off the mark, you can choose to continue your footstep that way, or you can adjust.
Do you ever
Yeah.
catch yourself in those
Oh,
moments?
all the time. All the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, like,
Yeah, and it really takes a lot of like, I think owning a business and being so public, and
mhm,
I'm actually a relatively shy person.
sure, sure.
I think it takes balls for one, and it also takes a lot of self-forgiveness because I
Mm,
mess up a lot.
that's a great
You
point.
know, it's so many human interactions, and when you think about the amount of time that you spend with other humans and how the times you excel, it's probably lower right now.
Sure, yeah.
Just
Sure, for like 10%, you know.
I'm doing really well
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I feel that way too sometimes. Like that quote just hit me. It's like a lot of self-correcting, it's
Mhm.
just trying to stay and figure yourselves out. Like it's a
Yeah.
constant learning, right? I feel like as soon as I feel like I'm on a good path, something will change or I'll, surprise
Mhm.
myself in some ways in good ways, and then others not so good ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the whole thing, that human condition
Mm,
where, that radical inclusivity for the human condition, and animals as well,
sure.
but here we are talking about the humans.
Right.
And, it- you know, you've got to allow that people are going to be evolving and changing and that they need a safe place to do that, a
Yeah.
safe public space to do that,
Hmm.
because so many people, you know, don't, what's the percentage of people who don't even get touched
Oh, sure.
in a given day?
Yeah, because it's just the amount of just loneliness we have, it's just like, yeah,
It's wild. Yeah,
it's very harmful.
yeah. And that brings me back to what if there's somebody who's yada yada,
Yeah,
that's not your cup of tea,
sure.
or it seems to be actively harmful,
Hmm.
um, but not in your presence right now, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a book by Starhawk, who, no, that's also a whole Gen Z name.
Sure, I was about to say, I was like,
Starhawk wrote this book called The Fifth Sacred Thing. And the thing I remember about that book is that there's the US has fractured, and there are factions that live Southern California and then Northern California. And the Southern California is more conservative and it ends up being like this wasteland.
Okay.
And the Northern California people, of course, are progressive, they're taking care of the environment, blah, blah, blah. But they always set places at the table for the people that would be considered their enemies.
Sure.
Because if there's a place at the table, then and they actually come and use it, then you're in dialogue.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody has to do it,
Right.
right?
Right.
But you're not going to actively like allow somebody to, bring an axe into that room
Yeah.
and, wreck it up or
Mhm.
something.
Gotta
Yeah,
keep
because
everything safe.
it's at your table and it's the way,
Oh,
yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So so the mission never changes,
Right.
no matter who's walking in the door.
Yes. And I think that's big too. And I guess what some people worry about, because I've gotten that, even on this show of like, oh, I can't believe you talked to that person, or why did you invite them? Or I'll invite people and they'll say
Are they
absolutely
gonna say,
not. No, I think you're right. Why did you talk to Jana about this? We don't, we worry about her. No. But sometimes, they'll refuse and they have every right to not. I mean, whatever, it's your choice. But it surprises me and disappoints me because I think we can disagree. I love to disagree with people too. And I think that's great. But just this sense of people saying, oh, you've lost your way by even talking to that person.
right? Well, that's dehumanizing, isn't it?
Hmm.
I mean, that's the biggest problem I think that our society has right now, is that we other people.
Mm.
And once you other somebody, you can do almost anything to them.
That's a good point. Right. That's how it
Yeah,
all works, right?
right. And so it's really important to me that I'm always looking at somebody's behavior, and I'm thinking, or even, their belief system, and I'm thinking, well, that is not at all how I want things to go, and
Right.
it's not how I would be, but I'm going to give them the grace that there's a reason for it. There's a reason that they think that way, or that they're spouting memes at me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And there's even if you never will know the reason, you can at least allow that something brought them to this point, that they're not complete imbeciles.
Yeah, and they've
Yeah.
had so many years and experiences that we'll never know. You never know someone's story, like all of it.
And how did they grow up? And, is their entire family this way?
Right.
And, they haven't seen another way of being, or they really like that. They're feeling very safe. They like a black and white world, or whatever it is that
Right, yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's tough to be challenged in your worldviews, but
Mm-hmm.
but it's so good to be challenged
Yeah.
because that's what it means to be humans, right? Of just
Right.
experience a multitude of different factors, and then, like you mentioned, that path, test stuff out, come back to it. It's always,
Yeah.
you can always come back.
I really miss the politics of, like my teenage years, when people were uh, not agreeing, but it felt like the center was holding, because there was an expectation that there would be somebody who would balance you out on the other side of the spectrum, and then you'd be able to have debates, and that does not exist right now.
What do you think happened?
Gosh. Well, I think, democracy's hard.
Yeah, yes, it's very hard. It's slow, it's frustrating.
Go to the movies with their family knows that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, yeah, that's what I love. Just picking dinner is a whole decision in itself. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. And, yeah.
Because part of your generation too, you've seen, because when you mentioned like just you used to be challenged or someone would debate, you can now completely isolate yourself
Yes.
online in echo chambers.
Yeah, and you can be really terrible anonymously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah.
yeah, for real.
Right. So how much do you think that's played into it? How much you think, like, I mean, we've also seen a lot of just social decline, economic decline over the generations. What do you think is really weighing into this just continued? I feel like every year I hear someone say, this is the most divided we've ever been. But maybe, it's just continuing to be a struggle to connect with people. What do you think is some of the driving forces?
There's a book. Oh, you got obviously.
You're a little bit of a reader, I think. Yeah, no, I love that.
There's a book by Johann Gultag, and he died recently.
Okay.
But he predicted what would be happening right now, and he did that years ago based on a mathematical model. And his prediction was that we were either going to be breaking down into smaller, healthy, cohesive societies,
Right.
in the US. And what's it called? The Fall of the US Empire. I think that's the name of the book. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Will it be, this or this or this?
Right, massive authoritarian.
Right.
Yeah.
Or will it end up being fractured authoritarian factions? And I think that we just got too big. When you think about how tribes and bands can work things out. And then, a little bit bigger society, it's a little harder. Well, the US just became like, the US was ubiquitous around the world. And, we were in areas that, people didn't even know that we were in South America. And recently, started saying that, And we had the School of Americas where we were training people to be terrible to their own people.
Sure.
And giving,
CIA.
Yeah. And I think it's an entity and a a country and just the whole like our our soul
Hmm.
got too big and it has fractured.
Hmm.
That you just can't you can't walk into a room and claim every single seat. You're only going to sit in one
Yeah. Right.
at any given time. But the US was everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see just the amount of like hundreds and hundreds of military bases across the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
you know,
And
and
you see China doing that now.
mhm,
Like, just growing and,
the two biggest
becoming
empires right
everywhere.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that decay, I hear just it's kind of like that massive spread out and just the decay on the internal.
Right. Well, I took a lot of anthropology
Mm,
courses
hmm.
and I had a near minor.
Near
A
my,
near
close enough.
minor.
Close enough. We'll count it. We'll count it.
And that's like a big theory in anthropology that you cannot have liminal consciousness. You can't have like there are people who would say that there's no way anybody in America can actually attain enlightenment
Mm,
because we just can't have that kind of consciousness. We're too big.
mm,
We keep we keep taking in like because we're oppressing so many
right.
others,
Right. That we define as
and then we
others.
have all this anxiety because we know it's wrong. We know there's something
Mm,
wrong.
hmm. Hmm. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean, it's, there's a reason why I think The Matrix was such an important movie of just
right.
we kind of
Yeah,
like, whoa, let's question our reality. Let's question, where these things come from
yeah.
and yeah, our role. And it's kind of that imperial core that we have some that is sometimes referred to of just, so much stuff is going on around the world that our hands are on everything,
Mhm.
including stuff like, Venezuela right now. Like, I
Right.
hear it on the radio, we took another oil tanker. It's like, what? Why? Like,
Yeah. So much for the isolationists.
yeah, even that, it's like, oh,
What?
yeah,
Just want to take us out of everything good, and now we're doing that.
right,
Yeah.
right. It twists it twists the mind. It makes it tough. But
Yeah.
I see the like communal and almost that, the what was the not Sky Fox? What was the because I know I was like, that sounds so much like a video game character that
Starhawk.
Starhawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starhawk.
She
But
was a wow job in
sure.
the 80s.
Heck yeah. I'm all for it. But it sounds like you're building something like that of not the authoritarian, but just the communal, the tribe, the band of just people that can be together and check in. I'll come in here. I'll see friends I haven't seen in 6 months.
Mm.
And it's just to
Yeah.
connect back and then be like, and then we make plans to do stuff again.
Hmm.
And it's just awesome. So is that a big influencer? Are you trying? How much are you trying to like show the community right now?
Oh, with everything.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The name Copeka is actually a local name.
Mm.
It was a dance hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Heck
Back
yeah.
from like the early 1900s to the mid 60s.
Hmm.
And my grandparents had their first dance at Copeka. There used to be dance halls all up and down the valley.
Yeah.
And my mom and all her siblings grew up at another one called Mile Away. Maybe you've eaten a Mile Away cookie.
Maybe.
Yeah. Um,
Is that a space here? Like in Mason County?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a mile away from downtown.
Mm,
In Appleton, and actually
mm,
Copeka was in Appleton as well.
okay.
There was one that was I can't remember the name of that one, but it was on East Orchard Mesa. So they were places where people of all ages
Yeah.
could go and hang out and have fun.
Right.
And they did it every weekend, like every Saturday night.
Right.
My grandparents actually had their honeymoon, one night honeymoon at Copeka, at not Copeka, at Mile Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first started this, we chose the name Copeka because we wanted a place that didn't exist in town anymore, where you would be able to walk in and you'd see teenagers
Hmm.
and adults
Hmm.
and, grandparents or, you
Right.
know, all sorts of
Yeah. Yeah.
all sorts of people all together.
Hmm.
Because outside of going someplace and purchasing something in a store, going to Target or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
you don't really see that.
Hmm.
People make plans. They say, "Oh yeah, let's go. We're going to do this weekend," and almost always it'll be in their own age group.
Sure.
People are in silos,
Right.
and
They don't go out at all.
right. And we really wanted to show that, hey, you can see people that are not at all like you, and you're going to be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I see it. I see it every time I'm here, and
Wow.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yay.
It's a beautiful thing. Well, my last question for you, because I was curious on just, my end, and I know we have some viewers too that are kind of people entering either the workforce or like looking to do some new steps and change their trajectory. So kind of a more concrete, what's it like getting into a small business and like, how's that been for you? And just some quick suggestions you might have for some folks, just to wrap us up, because I'm
Okay.
personally curious too.
I think owning a business is a lot harder than anybody thinks. it
Sure.
is.
Yeah.
And I had managed places and
Mhm.
it still has shocked me.
Mm.
I've gotten on to Reddit recently just to be like, are other people experiencing this?
Sure.
And everybody's like that. They're like, owning a small business is like walking a tightrope.
Mhm.
And that's just true. The
With
margins
tigers
are really, yeah, the margins are really small. You really must have a mission. You
Mhm.
must want to do this thing, even if you're not going to get paid.
Mhm.
During COVID, a lot of businesses stopped paying themselves,
Sure. Right.
right? And
Yeah.
we're all still really trying to recover from that because then came the where you couldn't even get goods.
Yeah. Right. Supply
Right? Yeah. Now, inflation,
tariffs and
and
yeah.
that's come from small businesses too. But I think anything you do, like your job, um, being a parent,
Mhm.
hiking, if you're in a hiking club, anything that you do, you better have a real good core reason for it
Yeah.
because you'll be challenged.
Mhm.
And you don't want to go off your mark. You want to continue to create the path. But how do you do that? You can't just create a path if you have no idea of what you want it to be.
Yeah.
So you need to create a mission
Okay.
and then
Keep to it.
keep doing it. Yeah, and keep coming back to it and
Mhm.
asking, does this look like my mission? Does it oppose my mission?
Right.
Am I playing it safe out of the way of my mission right now?
Mhm.
And you will do all of those.
Yeah, you're always challenged to kind of
Mhm.
pull. I like the play it safe too,
Mhm.
right? Because you could change up your model.
Yeah,
You could change it to here's your paper cup. Get the hell
yeah.
out of here. Like
Yeah, we got all this space for no good reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're building the community and you're keeping to that, radical inclusivity, and that's beautiful. So just wanted to thank you for coming on. Do you want to just tell real quick where people can find Copeka and
Oh,
because I know you changed your hours a little bit too recently?
recently we speaking of business, we noticed that people are not really leaving their houses at night.
Hmm.
and and that's been declining,
Right.
for some time. And in order to stay afloat,
Hmm.
we need to like look,
Match some people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we really want to pay people well,
Hmm.
and you can't do that if you're like,
Just hanging out, right?
like percentage is too high, or,
Sure.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So you all are now from
we're from 7 till 5
okay.
on weekdays and 8 to 5 on weekends.
There you
And recently somebody said, I wish you were open at 7 on the weekends. And I'm like, I hired young people.
Right.
They don't want to get up this early.
No, no. Even eight's like, whoa, okay, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, especially on the weekends. No, that's not going to happen.
Cool. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for just leading this place and really just continuing to have this mission. And obviously, it's carried you through 8 years, and I want to see 80 more. So,
Oh my God. Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you again
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Nick.
for sure.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Special thank you to our Patreon members. We are 100% community funded, and your support goes a long way. You can become a member at patreon.com/bettertogether, and we have several options and perks, so check it out.